Okay.
All right, if we don't have any objection, we'll go ahead and begin the meeting of the February 25th, 2025 Planning Commission. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please get the roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Chair Wild.
Here.
Vice Chair Barber.
Here.
Commissioner Maccaro.
Here.
Commissioner Spear.
Present.
Commissioner Jester.
Here.
Commissioner Stevie.
Here.
And Commissioner Correll.
Here.
All present.
Moving on to the minutes, any discussion or changes?
A question, related to minutes. And the question really is, what timing the minutes, as they're published, are posted online? Do we know when that is, or is it consistent?
So minutes that are approved by the commission, I would need to follow up on, unless Alex knows the answer to that.
The minutes for the Planning Commission are not published online, but they are officially entered into public record after this evening. So they'll be available.
After they're approved by us?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
No change to the minutes.
I'll enter a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. We can get the vote.
Chair Wiley.
Yes.
Vice Chair Barber.
Yes.
And Commissioner Maccaro.
Approved.
Commissioner Spear.
Approved.
Commissioner Jester.
Approved.
Commissioner Stevie.
Approved.
And Commissioner Correll.
Approved.
The vote is 7-0 to approve.
Okay, thank you.
I missed a huge part of the meeting. Does that matter? Because I had to recuse myself.
He was here for one item, but not for the second item.
I think that's okay because I've recused in the past, but I was here for the original roll call and also whatever remaining items.
So just as a point of order, I just wanted to ask.
It's a good question, though.
I would need to look into that.
I believe since you were present at the meeting.
Will-
I didn't realize until after I done it.
We will take the vote as provided and the motion and second is provided. We'll have legal look into that, and if we need to bring the minutes back for
Okay.
remotioning and review, we'll do so at the next
Okay.
meeting.
Sorry.
Any written communications?
None at this time.
Oral?
And none.
Move on to public hearings. First item is PL 24-0259, Planning Commission bylaws.
So there's no presentation for this item. This is a Planning Commission initiated request to amend the bylaws from mid-2024, I'll be generous to myself. And so this is the request from the commission to amend pursuant to the conversations that occurred at the prior Planning Commission meetings. I believe in, June of 2024. The changes are as listed and as shown in attachment 1. So the commission would vote to either amend the bylaws or provide other direction to staff regarding the bylaws.
Can I make a motion to approve?
Yes, I second.
All right, we have a motion to approve in a second. Any discussion?
Well, no.
This looks like a no. Let's go ahead and get a vote.
No, do you have?
All right. Chair Wiley.
Yes.
Vice Chair Barber.
Yes.
Commissioner Maccaro.
Yes.
Commissioner Spear.
We are voting right now to approve without discussion
No, I asked for discussion after the
I thought there was somebody that wanted discussion. Is that not the case? Did you not want discussion?
No discussion.
Okay. Then I approve.
And Commissioner Jester.
Voting to approve the.
Okay.
Commissioner Stevie.
Approve.
And Commissioner Correll.
Approve.
The vote is 7-0 to approve.
Moving on to current business, which is PL 25-0042. It's the 2024/25 Planning Division Work Plan.
Yes. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. So I am Veronica Moronis, your city planner, returning on just an update for the Planning Division's 2024-2025 work plan. We saw this work plan in April of last year that came before the commission as a request to receive and file. Just again, a rehash of some background on this. So generally speaking, planning is one of 5 divisions within the Development Services Department. The other 4 are the Building Division, the Engineering Division, the Housing and Neighborhood Services Division, and Code Compliance Division. And so the Planning Division works on both current planning, private development projects, as well as public development projects. So we assist engineering with capital improvement projects in terms of environmental review and development as necessary. And we work on long-range projects, which tend to be policy, document amendments, updates to policy documents that are a result of state law, city council direction, things of that nature. And so the work plan before you this evening is the work plan you saw last year, just with a mid-cycle update. That mid-cycle update goes over both the current plan, or goes over the long-range planning components of the Planning Division's work plan, which is what we have control over. We don't have control over the private development market, right? Applicants will submit projects as they see fit for current planning, so we don't track that from a work plan standpoint. So the request this evening is to simply receive and file. There is no formal action required for this item. It's informational. Back in April of 2021, the Planning Commission at the time directed staff to prepare an annual work plan. You may recall, some of you, there was a little bit of confusion surrounding the work plan, and it was brought back in 2023 by the city planner at the time to clarify what the purpose of the work plan was. And last cycle, I believe we changed the name from the Planning Commission work plan to the Planning Division work plan. And this work plan leverages city council priorities that get identified to prioritize accordingly our long-range work efforts. So again, just really high-level overview. The first section of the work plan just talks about training and the general, I believe it's called the director's report. The director has delegated it down to the city planner, so the city planner's report. Section 2 goes over the items that are in the pipeline in some way, shape, or form. There are 15 items. You'll notice there's a new item added, item 15, that works to implement the East Valley specific plan, which was adopted by the City Council recently in 2023. And there are 2 completed items as of this mid-year cycle, with a number of items in progress at this point in time. I'm happy to answer any questions about any of the items that are on that list, if anyone has any further inquiries on those. Sections 3 and 4 just talk about recurring and ongoing things. So these are repetitive items you'll see each year. Things like our zoning code update, our annual reporting requirements, implementation of larger policy documents like our housing element, our climate action plan. And then section 5 talks about potential future ideas or projects that may be added to the actual work plan, section 3. And then we talk about some of our completed items, the 2 so far, which is our pre-approved ADU program, which we will bring back as an informational session to the commission to introduce you to that program so that you're aware of it. You can share that information with anyone. If you want to use it yourself and build an ADU, pre-approved ADU, you'll know how to do that. And the other completed project is our supplemental land use element and East Valley Area Parkway Plan update that we had to do as a result of the East Valley specific plan. So you all saw that last year in the last half of 2024 before it went to council. So that concludes my presentation on this item. It's really meant to be discourse, dialogue. I'm available to answer any questions, should you have any.
Any questions of staff? Commissioner Stevie.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Moronis. Appreciate that update. I want to maybe clarify what our potential role could be this evening. These items that you've shared with us, if I were to rank order them by date, is it fair to say, hey, these are the things that we're prioritizing as the Planning Commission right now, based on the target dates, or are those just target dates that were initially issued and it's not necessarily a good indicator of what your priorities are?
So the prioritization of the work plan is from the staff level as filtered through council priorities. The estimated dates of completion are based on staffing bandwidth and resources available.
Okay.
So it's a best estimate based on current resourcing. If resourcing changes, the date could change.
If, in our advisory capacity as the planning commission, we wanted to see a project put onto this timeline, is that something we could suggest this evening? Discuss amongst ourselves, potentially vote on and suggest to you, and then secondarily, if so, would we need to tell you which of these we would like to subordinate to this initiative?
So you definitely are able to discuss project concepts and make a recommendation with just the full transparency that staff may not act on that request from the commission or that suggestion from the commission. But it would definitely be something that would be taken back to our Director of Development Services and our Deputy City Manager for discussion and work accordingly, because ultimately the list is set by conversations with council at the executive management level.
And is there a mechanism by which this evening we could elevate a consideration to council?
If it isn't on the work plan, then I believe it would have to be something that is, well, I think it would have to be agendized for the next meeting.
I
for
would agree with
discussion.
that. If it's not already in the work plan, I would agree that the best course would be to agendize it.
So then if we agendized it, hypothetically speaking, if we agendized an item, we would want to be able to refer to this work plan and say, you're currently working on these initiatives, and in order to achieve this agendized item, should we decide to elevate it to council and agree that it's a priority, we would have to suggest which of these items should be deprioritized. Is that accurate?
Not necessarily.
That would be for you to decide?
You could make a recommendation, but I don't think it is a necessity that you remove one per se in order to make that recommendation at a future point. It would just be whether you think there is one worth substituting in lieu of, or
Yeah.
recommend just an addition of.
So, can I make a comment to the rest of the commission about a proposed agendized item?
Do we have to deal with this thing first?
What was the question?
I said, do we have to deal with this first before we?
Well, I guess I've got a question with that. Discussion about putting something on a future agenda?
I think that's
For
as far as we
discussion?
could go tonight, right? Because we couldn't discuss something that wasn't agendized.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So you just want to talk about one of the things here, not adding something.
No, I want to, the goal that I have in mind is I would like to see something on this work plan that is not on this work plan.
So would that have to be agendized?
So I think I'll defer to Brenna, but I believe that it could be as part of this item, someone could, there is no action before you this evening. Whether the council or the commission decides to discuss or opine the want of adding something to the work plan, I think they could state a concept. There cannot be discussion on that concept. In order for there to be actual discussion, it would have to be agendized during the future agenda items to the next meeting, and then that's where substantive discussion could unfold.
So it sounds like if you want to discuss it, we've got to put it on the future agenda.
Yeah, so I guess what I would say to make it very explicit is, as we take a look at this work plan, and thank you for the progress, I'm especially excited to see that the pre-approved ADU stuff is already done. I would like us as a commission in our advisory capacity to have a discussion in a future meeting about the Grand Avenue downtown area specific plan, particularly with respect to the retail corridor. If I'm getting that right, please, if I got that wrong, please let me know. But, you know, broadly speaking, the area on Grand Avenue from Palomar Heights down to about Maple Street, I think is an area of, that we as a commission should have our eye on, especially given the substantial amount of money that the city is currently, spending on that area. And I think there are some very serious, like zoning issues that we should address and maybe elevate. And I think that it should eventually be put on this work plan, and probably some of these things that are currently here should be deprioritized
in favor of it. So that would be broadly something I would like to discuss and put on the agenda in the future.
So-
Since we've already discussed it.
Well, no, I mean, no, I'm telling you like the framework, but I think there's a long conversation to be had. Like I haven't gone into any detail about what problems are as I see it, for example.
So you'll have to
Make
bring
a
that up
motion,
at
but
the
this comes
future
later.
agenda.
This comes later.
Right.
Yes.
So you're just expressing the topic, it can't be discussed further.
Yep.
When we get to the future agenda items, you can make.
I just needed to know, really, I was just trying to figure out point of order, like what's the process?
Sure. Yeah.
That's it.
Anything else? Any other discussion on any of these items, Commissioner Spear?
Oh, sorry.
Elon?
I have a question. Is the work plan prioritized?
It is roughly prioritized based on the ranking in the list, so 1 through 15. There have been various projects that unfortunately have been put on hold due to staffing resourcing or things of that nature. I would take it as a loose prioritization that obviously can change based on funding that comes in that may be specific. Staff are continuously looking for grant opportunities, and so if a grant opportunity is applied for on a project, let's say for example we apply to 2 grants and we're granted one and not the other, that project becomes a higher priority because now it's funded, right? So it is a loose priority.
Thank you.
Commissioner Spear?
You had mentioned that the pre-approved ADUs were complete to the point where it's available to the public already or has been?
Correct, there's a pre-approved ADU website.
It's up, okay. My only question on that is it being well received? Has it been used much? How has the city responded to that availability? Do we have enough feel for that yet?
So we don't have a lot of numbers on it as of this time. I don't believe anyone has submitted using a pre-approved ADU as far as I'm aware at this point in time, but we are tracking it. So we will be able to tell at the end of each year or on a monthly basis how many pre-approved specific ADU plans have been submitted, issued, final as time moves on so that we can track efficacy.
Okay. How long has it been up?
So we have had it up since start of January of this year, so probably 6-7 weeks.
Okay. Pretty.
Based on my experience on pulling permits in the city, they wouldn't even have the first permit for another 30 days.
Yeah, we wouldn't know yet. So I'm curious. I'm excited to see if people think, hey, this is great, they use it. So I'm glad we're tracking it. Thank you.
Yes, and the goal is to get a workshop in front of you folks sooner rather than later so that it can proliferate.
Yeah. Great. That's all I have.
I want business. I'm not gonna offer free ADUs. You gotta be kidding me.
Can we design them at least? Or like do the tile?
I'm like, come on.
Can I put a pool next to it?
Well, we paid for it with grant money, so I hope that.
So we don't need to make a motion or anything on this?
Any other questions? I've only got one. Comprehensive update to the general plan. Is there any thought about doing that, especially the land use section?
So staff gave a general plan update workshop to the city council at, I believe, the January 29th meeting. We spoke about comprehensive updates, what that would entail, but there hasn't been any additional plans. I haven't received any direction since then on that, but we're still working on our general plan update for the safety element, so that's, we're gonna have a workshop for that at the end of next month. I'll send you invites in case you'd like to attend.
And that was gonna be my other request. Any of these sort of workshops that are being held, if we can make sure that the commission gets notified.
Absolutely.
I don't have anything else.
Can I, is this open communication?
Question.
Nothing
On
about
this item,
Not about this item, that's
in just a minute.
okay.
Future agenda items, you wanted to bring something forth?
Yeah, I would like to put on the agenda for the future discussion about the downtown area specific plan with special focus on the retail corridor on Grand Avenue.
The bylaws require someone to second that?
Yes.
I'll second. Okay, but ladies first.
I'm saying that.
So there's no vote, we just have
First
one
and second.
proposal, somebody says yeah, I want to see that when it gets agendized.
Ms. Morose, do I have to make that, did I make that overly specific? I want to talk about the Grand area, but not just the buildings fronting Grand Avenue. And I'm looking at the chart in my brain, and I think the buildings are, I think that covers the area I want to discuss, but does it also allow us to discuss buildings that might be fronting, say, Maple or Juniper or?
So I don't think we can continue to discuss this item technically.
I'm just trying to make sure my proposal is broad enough to encompass.
I think I understand what you would like
Okay.
in terms of, because as from a
So as far as, we can't discuss the item, you can't discuss the item, you have to be as clear as with your request as possible, and other commissioners can ask clarifying questions. Is essentially the parameters here, so.
I think what you can do, Commissioner, is prior to the meeting that this would be on the agenda, give staff almost a summary of what you're looking to discuss, and then that can kind of be included
Great.
in our packet, and that way you got a little more time to kind of think about it.
Because we have a public
construct it.
notice that needs to go out, right, as part of this, or no?
Yep.
Nope.
She's saying no.
Well, public notice
Agenda item, right?
on the agenda.
as a, just a
As an
logistical
agenda
point of
item.
order, the agenda has to be posted 72 hours in advance of the meeting. We post that Thursday and Friday, depending on staffing. There is no notice for an
Right.
agenda, a future agenda item, however.
Okay.
Commissioner Spear.
I have a couple of requests as well. One is, let's see, as an agenda item, I don't know if it needs to be an agenda item, and it can't be a discussion today, but part of my question ranges in the past city council meeting. The city council asked a question of what the planning commission said over the topic they were addressing. They don't have access to the minutes of our meeting in time to know the answer to that question while they're deliberating and voting on a topic. So my question is, I guess, and tell me if we need to put this as a topic of discussion later, but can we get a two things. Can we get a method of providing information to them so they have access to the discussion that we had here in Planning Commission before their vote on the item? That's question number one. And number two, can we formulate a way where the Planning Commission can sort of approve the answer to that question before they, well, for example, if they can't get our approved minutes until after their vote, then they don't get the answer to that question. So
Couldn't staff answer that question at the hearing?
No, well, our audio
yeah,
is posted relatively quickly after our meeting.
it is. However, one of the commissioners, I mean, pardon me, one of the
So I don't think we
council members-
can have discussion, right?
Yeah, we can only discuss what is agendized today.
Okay,
So you
then
can
I
pose
would-
that for the future meeting.
I would say then, let's put that, that's the agenda item I would like to that we discuss. So, protocol for the council having our approved minute information relevant to their vote before they vote.
I'll second that.
The other one I wanted to mention was, for a discussion, for an agendized discussion, is there was much discussion by city council regarding a definition to be used in the CUP. I'd like to have a discussion about maybe putting forth a formal definition of terms that were of great confusion regarding the CUP. Perhaps the city can put forth a formal definition. So I'd like to discuss that as well as an item for us to beat up, I guess. has. And I can be specific about what that definition is, but maybe in broad terms, it can be simply defining terms within conditional use permits that are going before city council. Does that make sense? Or is that a little too ambiguous? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. To the commissioners, does that make sense? What I'm trying
So it's a
to,
broad discussion regarding definitions for future CUPs, or any project for that matter.
true, yeah, that's right.
You don't already have definitions for CUP?
No, not a definition of CUP, definition of terms that are in the CUP. There was a great deal of council discussion and in the ambiguity of an undefined term that was really relevant to the CUP.
I'll second.
So it seems like it'd be important.
It was to the council, yes.
Any other future agenda items?
I don't think mine's an agenda item, it's more of a question of direction.
And that's my question is, how do we, at what point in the meeting do we present questions to staff that,
Aren't agendized.
I mean, I could,
So I believe that you either need to agendize the topic or you can reach out to staff independently.
I'll just,
okay.
May I make a clarifying question, please? The initial question from Spear for the protocol for PC approval, I don't believe that was seconded, just to.
It
that-
was,
Commissioner
it was
Stevens.
Stevie.
I know you seconded the defining terms.
No,
Those are two
the
separate
initial one, I
items.
think, was.
I had the initial one.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Weiler?
Is that it? Oral communications, planning commissioners report. Anybody want to report on anything as commissioners? Seeing none. City planners report.
Yes, so we are slotted to have a March 5th Planning Commission meeting. It will be a current business item. We'll be bringing forward the Housing Element Annual Progress Report. So the Housing Element, called the APR, all the data associated with building permits and units from the Housing Element will be coming at the next meeting for receive and file before it goes to the City Council. And then we anticipate Planning Commission meetings at the end of March and early April to be private development projects. So we do anticipate having meetings over the next several scheduled dates, but if that changes, you will be notified as soon as possible.
Okay. Unless anybody's got anything else to report or say, this meeting's adjourned.